Welcome to Legal Nurse Podcast. I have with me today Cheri Martin, who is the social visionary and a person who is an expert in LinkedIn and specifically using LinkedIn for business visibility and business generation. Cheri and I have collaborated on some other educational opportunities, and I always learn something from every conversation that I have with her about LinkedIn. Welcome to the show, Cheri.
Well, thank you, Pat. As always, I am honored to be your guest and work with you and always find ways to help others master this confusing online landscape that we have to be on these days, right? And LinkedIn, of course, is one of those sites that so many of us just kind of push aside. And I have found that it has been the best site or social platform, I should say, that has brought myself and many of my clients much more business through the networking opportunities that it provides. So happy to be here.
And one of the behind the scenes secrets about Legal Nurse Podcast is that many of my recent guests are people I've connected with on LinkedIn. I'm inviting people who are my primary contacts to have a talk with me and plan a show. And as I wander around LinkedIn looking for people who are fitting the criteria that I have defined, I find a lot of people who have no picture, no header, no activity. It says hasn't posted in a while, have incomplete contact information. Tell me, why is that an issue for people today?
Well, on LinkedIn, you have to actually look at the platform for what it really does and what it is, what it stands for. I mean, I think I have shared with you before, Pat, to me, it's almost like a virtual chamber of commerce. And when we are out, I mean, it's the number one professional networking site there is. And you have such an amazing reach, not only for those in your own area, but in a global reach as well. And when you have a LinkedIn profile that is kind of naked, so to speak, it doesn't position you very well. And I'm all about making sure that you're positioned so that individuals that come across you on LinkedIn see your expertise, see what your skills are, what your knowledge is, and whether or not they want to, whether or not they're attracted to you. I mean, a naked platform isn't going to attract your ideal client. So you want to make sure that when you are setting up your LinkedIn profile, that you have yourself positioned to get business and to connect with those individuals that are looking for the solutions that you offer.
And how do you know what words to put into your profile?
Well, I mean, every industry is different, of course, but with the legal nurse consultants, you have to make sure that the keywords or the information that you're placing in your profile actually resonate with those attorneys that are looking for your skills, your knowledge, your expertise. So if you are skilled in as a witness expert, showcase that, showcase your experience, showcase, I know you have to be compliant with what you can and cannot share with the audience, of course, but you can give a little bit of maybe an attorney that you've worked with or that can give a good testimonial for you. If you are skilled in malpractice, if you do research, do a lot of market research for specific cases that the legal nurse consultant fields is focusing on, you showcase that criteria on your profile. That is going to show up in searches when someone is looking for you, for the solution that they are searching for the challenge they're having. And that's how you show up on the platform, is in that search by the type of material or content that you put in your profile.
The wording that you're suggesting is very different than putting a resume together. What's the difference?
That's a very good point, and so spot on, because that's what I think the number of us started out on LinkedIn. We put our resume up there. And yes, because the myth is still that LinkedIn, and it was started as a place for you to find jobs for your career. And a lot of human resource departments and corporations were looking for that. So that's why people put the resumes up there. However, you want to be making sure that you are placing information in what is called the about section. It used to be called the summary, in the first person. In other words, as if you were sitting in front of an attorney and having an interview, you would not be talking in a third person, like she does this or she does that or he does this. You would be talking in the first person, and you would be saying I. You'd also want to be making sure that in that about area, you're not just talking about you, you're actually focusing on the individual or the person, the company that you want to attract. In other words, understanding that you know them, that you understand and realize that they have some challenges, and these are some of the solutions you've been able to provide for others with these challenges. Putting testimonials, if you have somebody that I've done that in my profile, put a couple different testimonials from individuals that I was able to really help and assist getting their business moving forward. So with the legal nurse consultant would be the same way. So if you have any testimonials, if you talk as if you are, I guess you could say, positioning yourself as the solution provider to their problem, it's going to be more relevant to them. It's going to relate to them, and they're going to be more inclined to then reach out and have a conversation with you. And ultimately, that is what we want them to do, is to be able to have that conversation, because that's what networking is all about.
It's building relationships, isn't it?
It is all about building relationships, and that could be some kind, challenging for some people that are not used to networking. And I would assume, like in the legal nurse consultant industry, you probably, are not out doing as many networking activities as myself in a type of business that I have. And so it might not come as natural to you. However, think of it as the way to develop, as we want to develop relationships with employees, with friends, family, we want to do the same thing with those individuals on LinkedIn, because when you develop a relationship and get to know each other in a more deeper level, you have a trust value right there. You have that opportunity to be remembered more when they're looking for someone. Maybe you work on a case and you haven't connected with that person in a while, and now they're getting ready to bring on have another case like this, and they really need that expertise. They're going to remember you more if you took the time to develop a relationship than just do the job. Does that make sense? That's how I have always found business working for me.
Mm-hmm. I think we're talking about two concepts. We're talking about drawing people to you who are searching for you and are coming to your magnet, so to speak. And then the other piece is finding people who are on LinkedIn who have the need, or at least on the surface look like they have the need to use a legal nurse consultant because of the type of law practice that they have. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for us in terms of finding attorneys who are in that area where there are medical cases?
Oh, definitely. LinkedIn is almost, to me, it is a search engine. It is so similar to what you would do in Google or Bing or any of the search engines. You would actually go in and place in the search bar specific criteria that you're looking for when you want to connect with the attorneys. Who would be a great partner. That's how I look at it. You're becoming a partner with these attorneys to help with their cases. So understanding what your skills, what your knowledge, what your expertise is, and what type of attorneys need these type of type of a legal nurse consultant. That's how you start searching in the search bar. So when you're specifically, if you're wanting to work with an attorney in the local arena, when you're doing a search, you can search for the specifics of an attorney, as well as their location, as well as, if they're any type of criteria. I guess, I'm trying to think of some specifics within an attorney. So that would be the first thing you would look for, is your location, because most of us want to work with individuals that are near us.
Mhm.
And then look for the specific type of attorney that they are. What is their criteria? What are their cases? And they are going to have that information in their profile. So that's what's going to pull into the search. And that's why the information you put in your profile is so valuable, because when attorneys are searching for your type of skills and knowledge, those are the type of keywords that they're pulling, and that's going to pull from yours. So it's the same thing when you're looking for an attorney. What is it that who do you want to work with? And that's where you start. So it's ask questions, just like think of your own behavior when you're looking for a solution, and you go to Google something, we usually ask questions. So even ask those type of questions when you're doing a search, and kind of shortening it down. There's different ways to search, different capabilities of a search on LinkedIn. You can get everything that I do, that I teach my clients, is done on the free version, the basic LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an upgraded version, like, using the sales tool and such, you can get a deeper search, but you don't need that. And you can actually put in different keywords of the type of cases you've worked on, and that should pull in the type of attorneys you're looking for as well.
Do you have an opinion about the automated search software that is promoted to independent business owners for LinkedIn?
I do not. I'm not, as far as, I don't go into a lot of that information or that type of a tool, because it's an expense to it. And the individuals that I find that are normally on LinkedIn, unless they're more advanced, are going to be using just a basic search. They're not going to get into that automation. So I'm not real familiar with a lot of those tools, to be honest, and I have never used them either.
Yeah, I have heard that if LinkedIn is aware that somebody is using the software to approach people, that they are not happy with that individual.
Well, yeah, there are some tools that you have to be very, very mindful of on any of the platforms, but LinkedIn specifically, when it comes to that, it's going to register in their filters, and it can actually get you blacklisted and released from the site if you do things against their rules and regulations. So always read the terms and conditions of the platforms you're on. But LinkedIn is, they want you to actually, the whole purpose of LinkedIn is to connect and develop friendships, relationships, to have conversations and engage. So that takes a real person.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to a computer.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of what they call the AI tools out there right now that can actually match up what their software is and different criteria coming in profiles. But I am not a fan of individuals that I can tell are using some type of tools like that, because then what they're doing is I'm receiving messages from them that are not, you can tell that they're not coming from their heart. They're not, that it's definitely a canned type of message. Mm-hmm. And all they're looking for is to sell somebody. So be very careful in that as well, that when you are actually, once you've connected with, reached out and connected with someone, you're not right away trying to sell them. That's where you start having the conversations of having, let them know what you're interested in, why you would like to connect with them, and what really brings something out about in their profile, what stood out for you, what made you want to connect with them, and let them know that you're interested in them, where these software tools, those AI tools, cannot do that. Mm-hmm. This is how you build the relationships. And it all goes back to having the understanding of the art of relationship marketing, which is being authentic and let people know who you are and getting to know them.
Before we continue with the show, I'd like to share this special announcement with you. I'd like you to consider these truths. Every attorney has their unique personality, work style, and needs. Every LNC brings unique clinical experience, training, and education to their work. Our personalities, work styles, and needs are also individualized. Your well-worded, unique selling proposition will attract those attorneys whose qualities match yours. I'm Pat Iyer, the author of Your Ideal Attorney Clients: How to Connect with Them by Speaking Their Language. In this book, I provide you with the benefit of over 30 years of running successful legal nurse consulting business. This book will help you gain clarity about who you want as a client. Yes, you have a choice. And focusing on your preferences helps you to define the unique selling proposition that will attract your ideal clients. Learn what your ideal clients need and fear. Define what makes you unique. Discover how to design your marketing material to attract your ideal client. In this essential book, you'll learn step by step how to emphasize what makes you unique as an LNC. This will put you in the enviable position to attract and keep the attorneys who most benefit from your special talents. Get your copy at lnc.tips/creating series. Now let's return to the show. And what you're suggesting, if I understand it correctly, goes beyond clicking the button that says connect, but instead creating an individual connection request from that person's profile that allows you to expand on that message.
That is so valuable because it's so easy to just say, oh, I would like to connect with that person, hit connect, and then just go on to the next. Chances are that person may go ahead and just accept it, but then there's nothing else. It doesn't go anywhere. But if you take the time when you reach out to connect with somebody and give them a personal message, and again, letting them know what what interested you in connecting with them, and bring something, like I said, if there's something on their profile that really stood out, or if you have a profile that actually will show individuals that are also connected, maybe you have a similar connection, then letting them know a little bit about them, it just takes that conversation to the next level. And it's the same thing if someone connects with you. Say an attorney reaches out to you. If you just hit connect, then again, the conversation stops. But if you take the time to message them back and thank them for reaching out and connecting, and that you're looking forward to getting to know them and find out a little bit more about what cases they have and how you can support them, not how you can work for them, but how you can support them. Mm-hmm. That's going to help them understand that you want to know more about them, as well as have a relationship and a conversation. And those conversations don't always, don't have them just stop right there on LinkedIn, the messages back and forth. That's when, once you've started those conversations with the messages, then you want to say, okay, you know what? Let's have a conversation. Let's jump on Zoom. Or if you're not comfortable with Zoom, get on the telephone. Mm-hmm. I have found that in the beginning, like say a couple of years ago, when the pandemic hit, I was still doing my telephone conversations with individuals that wanted to get to know me. But I decided to definitely take it to Zoom because we needed this connection. And that's what I love about Zoom, is that you can actually have a face-to-face conversation with someone that you're not in front of in person. And mm-hmm. that's going to deepen that relationship as well.
Yes. I'm curious, Cheri, you've made the connection. You've taken that person to a phone call, if at all possible, or a Zoom call. We've talked about using your profile to attract people to you. How does posting content fit within this world as well?
Oh, great question, because that's what everybody wants. Do I have to really put content on this platform, and because it takes time, it takes a lot of energy sometimes to keep up to date with everybody. And the answer is, I'm going to say yes, you do need to post content. However, you don't have to be on LinkedIn 24/7 every single day. What you really want to be doing is showing up in your connections newsfeed. In other words, once you've connected with them and you've had a little conversation, maybe within the chat, the message box, and maybe you've even had a one-on-one, you want to make sure that you're always seen so that you'll be known before you're needed. And I like to tell people that what I mean by being known before you're needed, if you just connect and don't show up and are visible, then chances are someone that does what you do, that is visible, will be the one that they will see more often and think of when they need someone with your expertise. So, content. The best type of content for legal nurse consultants to really be posting is content that showcases your knowledge, your skills, your expertise. It could be industry trends. It could be articles that you have actually found that you know would be valuable to your audience. So this is content you're really not creating on your own, so it's going to save you time. If you are a blogger, and then you could actually take your blog and put that into LinkedIn on the articles. It's a longer version of a post because nobody likes to read these long posts. So you could actually create an article on LinkedIn, which again will shoot into the news feed of your connections. And what I mean by shooting in, once you post it, then it posts and those individuals connected with you have the opportunity of seeing it in their news feed. And yes, just like all platforms, there can be a little cluttered in there. That's why you need to be doing it more often than others. Now, when I say that, I would say the best practice to have is 3 times a week. That doesn't mean 3 new pieces of content. It means maybe taking an article, posting it as an article on LinkedIn, giving your thoughts. You can showcase that article. You didn't write it, but you give credit to where credit is due. Give your thought about it. It then shoots out, and then maybe you want to take a piece of that article and provide another, just a little tidbit about something within that article. And same with the blog. I call it chunking it down. So you have one piece of content, and you maybe take 3 things out of that piece of content to create littler posts that go out there. And again, it's just so that you are being seen, being visible, and you're top of mind. That is the whole purpose of even doing anything on social media, other than just connecting, is to be visible and to have that top of mind awareness with those that you are connected with. So again, that they're going to think of you when they are in need of someone with your expertise and skills. So there are ways. I work with my clients on scheduling tools. You can actually create all your content, sit down one afternoon for a couple of hours, create everything and schedule it. It just goes out. You just need to make sure that you are checking your LinkedIn profile at least once a week so that you can, on the notifications that come through, if anyone comments or shares or has a question, you'll be able to, again, respond to that, because that's the next thing. Communication is always, it's two-way. A conversation has to have 2 people talking, right? So if someone responds to what you post, you have to be alerted to that and aware so that you are responding to it. And again, that's going to deepen that relationship and show that you're responsive and show that you are not one to just, show up every once in a while, but are aware of the importance of that conversation.
My cell phone tells me several people have commented on your post on LinkedIn. Maybe you want to say something about it to get more attention.
Exactly. I mean, this morning, I try in the morning to, what I do is kind of a habit I have. And the reason being, I teach LinkedIn, so I want to be on there on a daily basis. But in the first thing in the morning, I actually look at my LinkedIn my LinkedIn platform before I even get on Facebook, because of the notifications. I actually do not have any of those alerts coming into my text messages. Again, because we want to control our communication. And that's why I say, is if you have a routine that you can put in practice, and a couple times a week, just go check your notifications. They'll list everything. And once you've communicated with that notification, delete it, get it out of your site. If somebody else comments on a post, you'll get another notification. So I do that. Again, I just go and check. I don't have any of it coming in through my text or my emails. I have enough of that.
You're doing a better job than I am with this.
I know. So I would just say put a practice together where you are checking your notifications 1-2 times a week, maybe 3 times, whatever fits within your schedule. There's no right or wrong there. And that's what I love about LinkedIn. We do not have to be on there 24/7 like other platforms that require that if we want any type of business at all.
Well, can you get business from LinkedIn?
Oh, yes, you can. But then again, it goes back to how you are positioning yourself, how you are connecting, and how you are communicating. It doesn't just happen organically. The first step is, of course, positioning your profile. And in your profile, you want to make sure, of course, you have a professional photo. It doesn't have to be, when I say professional photo, it doesn't have to be one that's taken by a professional photographer. It just needs to reflect you in a professional manner. You also have to have in your header, which is your headline, I should say. You want to make sure that your headline states who you are. It has your keywords, and it will organically attract someone to you if they're doing a search. So it all is about basically setting up your profile to get your business, positioning you to get more business. And the 3 things that you need to take care of first, of course, professional photo, your headline, and then the about area, which, as I stated earlier, writing that in your first person and providing information to a reader that they're going to resonate with and say, wow, this is who I need to connect with. They have the skills, they have the knowledge, they've worked with individuals. And so in that about section, how you can gain more opportunities is by providing a link to where they can have a one-on-one conversation with you, or let them know you're open to having them message you to set up a conversation. Providing something maybe that you have put together, perhaps with the legal nurse consultant, maybe a blog that you've written about specific, I don't want to say a case study, but specific things that you've noticed within a case, maybe something that is pertinent to someone's case that you can provide information on. Maybe, I don't want to say tips, but a little bit of your expertise and knowledge about certain things in a malpractice suit that comes up. Questions that are often asked by an attorney or something to see if you can definitely take upon a case. Put that like a little, what I call a one sheet, and then lead your viewers on your LinkedIn profile to where they can actually download that. Those are the ways when you draw and drive traffic to where they can get to know you more or lead them to a conversation. That is how you actually can then get more business. Within the communication aspect, we were just talking about content, showcasing that you are always on top of different trends in the industry, that you know what's happening within certain cases, that things that might come up that you're aware of specific. There's so many cases these days that are public. I think one of them is the one that we all know with Johnny Depp and his wife. We get knowledge of that. If you could find and share your thoughts on something along that line, that is, people are interested in hearing things like that. And that could be some content you could create. That's exactly how you get more business. And of course, then having those conversations Conversations is what leads to what I call the conversions. If you're not open to having conversations and developing relationships, chances are you will not get business. But you don't have to be constantly setting up ads on LinkedIn. I do not do ads on LinkedIn or Facebook. Everything I have done that has drawn business to me has been through the way I've connected and the way I've had in my conversations.
Well, I have two more questions for you. If somebody wanted to connect with you on LinkedIn, how would they find you on LinkedIn?
Well, you can go to LinkedIn and put in Cheri Martin and you'll find me. It's linkedin.com/in/Cheri, Cheri Martin, Martin. And that is how you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Also on my website, socialvisionary.com. You can connect with me there. It has links to my LinkedIn as well. That'd be probably the easiest way. It also, on my event calendar and within my services, you can always see what kind of upcoming workshops I have that you want to learn more within the LinkedIn arena as well. And where I'm going to be seen, possibly speaking or presentations, podcasts. I always put all that on my website. So I would definitely say the best place to connect with me is on my website at socialvisionary.com.
All right. Thank you, Cheri. We have been talking with Cheri Martin about using LinkedIn as a business tool to establish relationships, to attract attorneys to you through your use of your profile, as well as providing content that will attract attorneys to you, and then reaching out and seeing if you can set up a conversation off LinkedIn, a real conversation on the phone or through Zoom, to demonstrate your knowledge and draw attorneys to you. Thank you, Cheri. Those are great tips that we have been talking about today for a platform that is one of the most important business tools for legal nurse consultants in terms of connecting with new people.
It's been my pleasure, Pat. Thank you very much. And as always, I love sharing. And if there's any questions that anyone has, again, connect with me on my website at socialvisionary.com, and I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you. And be sure to come back for our next show. We have a new guest, a new topic. And if you have not been getting the transcripts for these podcasts, you can read them, and we would be happy to send those to you. You can subscribe by going to our website, which is podcast.legalnursebusiness.com. Look at the show notes and click on the subscribe button, and we'll send you the transcripts. Thanks so much. My name is Pat Iyer. This is Legal Nurse Podcast. I would love for you to meet Stacy Lohmeyer. She's got 14 years of experience as a legal nurse consultant. She provides behind-the-scenes consulting and expert witness work for med-surg cases and is on the faculty of a college in Michigan. Stacy, we've just been chatting for about half an hour on the role that you've played as a legal nurse consultant over these last 14 years. What are some of the topics that we covered in your podcast?
We talked about one of my most memorable cases that I'm most proud of. And then we talked about things for a new LNC to take into consideration, such as the correct questions that are vital when being confronted by an attorney regarding a new case. We talked about complexities of a case, the pros and cons for attorneys in taking those types of cases, and how an LNC can help them. We also talked about knowing what experts are needed for a case.
We covered a lot of territory in your podcast, and we also had a few laughs. We had some fun with this topic. I would encourage you to come to Legal Nurse Podcast, get Stacy Lohmeyer's podcast. You'll find it on the audio channels, on our video channel on YouTube. You'll also find it on our website at podcast.legalnursebusiness.com. legalnursebusiness.com. Look for Stacy Lohmeyer and check out her podcast. You'll learn a lot from it. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Pat.